Hello, Rafa. I can hear you perfectly. Can you hear me?
Fantastic. Yes, I can. Hi,
All right.
everybody. Juice, independent. Misha, if you want to come on stage, if that's okay with you, Thomas, that would be great.
Yes. You can request the mic. I'll be happy to have you join us.
I'm excited about this, Tom.
Our last conversation was very exciting. So I am hoping that this one will be very valuable for our listeners. And we're going to be releasing it as a podcast for everyone who can't join live. And just,
Fantastic.
yes,
Hello, Manny.
Manu is here too. Great. Just gonna spend a few minutes sharing the link in all the channels so we can get more people into the conversation.
Sounds awesome. How's everybody doing this afternoon here in New York?
Hey, how's it going, guys? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Loud and clear.
Hey, nice to meet you. Very excited.
Yeah.
Thomas, do you want us to do a little intro while you work on the on sharing the link?
Oh, yeah. That would be perfect if you guys can start with that. It's very interesting that I think we're all in different parts of the world. I know Manu's in Argentina. I'm in Australia. You guys are in New York. It's, it's very cool that with today's technology, we can all just hop in and just chat as if we are in the same room. It's crazy.
Hi, Rafa. Nice to meet you.
Hola, Manu. Nice to
Hola.
meet you. Mi madre es Argentina, and Misha also speaks Spanish, by the way. I've seen you, and the real place to be is actually Twitter. So no matter where you come from, we're all the same family, the Bitcoin family. So just let me give a quick intro of myself. I'm Rapha, the CEO of Uasu. We bring basically an easy way to protect against your Bitcoin losses. And the best part is that you don't have to surrender custody of your keys. So currently attending the BSL, Bitcoin Started Lab. And have lots of things to discuss. I have a background in finance, was a founder of a hedge fund here in New York. And Misha is with us. Misha, if you want to give one or two words about yourself, but go ahead.
Yeah, definitely. My name is Misha. I'm also part of the Uasu team. I'm one of the backend developers. And my background's originally in engineering. I'm originally from Venezuela. And yeah, very excited working on the forefront of this technology and excited to show you guys what we're going to be building and hopefully showing off to the public very soon. You're still in testnet, right?
So I'd love to hold on to this question for a little later, so that we can do the proper announcement in the proper time. But Manu, are you based in Latin America? Is my understanding.
Yes, I'm based in Buenos Aires, Argentina. Actually, this month I'm traveling all around Argentina with a Argentina NGO conference, which is called Decentralized, which is for mainly for newbies, new Bitcoiners, trying to orange field or around Argentina.
That's impressive. Doing the work on the ground. So today I've prepared a few things that Thomas sent me to answer questions of my background and so on. But let's wait for you, Thomas. Back to you.
Yes, I am ready. I already shared in all the different groups. So hopefully people will join, and those who can't, the recording is going to be there and we're going to release it as a podcast afterwards. So welcome everyone to another episode of Talks with Sato, the weekly spaces that we do with the Money on Chain community, in which we try to investigate and have conversations with the people that are building on Bitcoin and everything that is happening on the broader Bitcoin ecosystem. which at the moment seems to be a very good time for these kinds of conversations because there is so much stuff happening and so many different new protocols and things. So it is very exciting. We have Rapha and Misha from Uasu, and we're going to talk about Bitcoin insurance, how to protect your Bitcoin, and how to do it in a self-custodial way. Rafa, do you want to give us a little bit of an intro of what Uasu is, how you got into the Bitcoin space?
All right. I don't know how far I do Crunchy stories to start with Bitcoin. Maybe I can start with that if that's okay with.
Yes, go for it.
All right. So back in 2015, I was a failed Web2 founder, and I was with the option of moving from Paris, where I'm from originally, to Luxembourg, where I would have been like a sales structure at a finance place. Or the other opportunity was one of my best friends who had been a hedge fund, a trader for his own account for the prior 10 years, had a really big kind of like track record of success, needed his right hand or something like to build a hedge fund. And the latter was much more promising. It gave me the opportunity to build my own business here in the US. And so it was a no brainer for me. And actually took a ticket from Paris and we met directly in Las Vegas because he's a pop player. And at the time, I think it was April. Yeah, there was some tournament or something. And so I just took a one-way ticket without a way back. And so how does this relates to Bitcoin? Well, the funny story is that at the same time, we had just had Bitcoin on our radar. One of our investors who was also a friend at the time in our fund had invested in Ethereum, and Ethereum had skyrocketed. And I remember he had made $1 million with a couple of hundreds of dollars invested in Ethereum when it was worth pennies on the dollar. So my ex-business partner had Bitcoin on his radar, and he had invested his own personal money and family money. But there was a glitch with kind of a solution, the custodian solution that he was using for his family, and it scared him. And so he pulled his money out. But hadn't he pulled his money out, basically, it would have meant that my journey with him would have been null because he would have made so much money during that bull market that building a business with me, even if it was at the time his lifetime goal, we wouldn't have done it. In a way, I was lucky that the tools with Bitcoin weren't so developed that allowed me to basically take a one-way ticket here and start my journey as a founder of a hedge fund in New York.
That is very funny, very interesting. There's a lot of times in life, things happen that we think is bad luck or we wish things would have gone in a different direction, but oftentimes it's necessary steps that lead us to where we need to be. So it's quite an interesting story. So
yeah, I can also double click on how I was seeing Bitcoin at this time. I had heard of Bitcoin. One of my ex CTOs from my Web2 failed startup had hinted at Bitcoin. He's an Argentinian, so he was using Bitcoin at the time, maybe to get paid and so on. But it was never on my radar. And at the time, it was going up so fast that me as a trader apprentice, I couldn't just chase it at that level. And I even remember shorting Ethereum, and obviously it didn't go well for me. um, yeah, it was pretty incredible. So I think in 2015 it was $250 or something when this was on our radar, and I actually didn't really discover Bitcoin at the time because it takes quite a while for Bitcoin to sink in. And it's only after I'd separated from my ex-business partner after 5 years of growing the business that I stumbled, I think, on a podcast from the founder of Stacks talking to a big hedge fund guy, Ari Paul. And they had really sophisticated conversations around coin needs to say simple. How do you scale Bitcoin? Is it going to be in layers? And then what also really resonated with me was this right of exit that Bitcoin provides. And me as a founder, like I had also I had been building on top of Facebook, on top of Amazon. I had experienced firsthand what it means to build in a walled garden where they can just squeeze you out if you're too good, or if they change the rules of the game, and they can put entire companies out of business. I remember reading an article by Chris Dixon, who's like a VC person, that was exactly stating this, that developers were tired of the bait and betray strategies of these companies, and that Web3 was bound to win because of the openness. Because when you develop in the open, then your contracts can be forked, can be improved, and the speed of iteration is going to be much, much faster and is going to weigh over any company, however big they are, or they would never have enough resources to be the ability to build in the open. Long story short, once I had a little bit of time to get my head out of my business, became a trader. This is when I started discovering stacks and Bitcoin. And then I was just hooked. I couldn't stop. I couldn't stop to learn. And I consider myself fairly new in the space and still trying to understand how much of a disruption Bitcoin is.
Yeah, that is a very key point for people to understand the difference of building on Bitcoin on anywhere else. The walled garden metaphor, and we see this play out almost every single day. There's like a news of Apple just removed this app from the App Store, or they're taking insane commissions for you to even be allowed in the App Store. So this whole concept of the walled garden and just Bitcoin being a completely open field, I think that's one of the things that for people looking to build something, for founders, I think is very important. I don't know, Manu, if you want to share some of your thoughts, you building money on chain and everything with the same mentality.
Yes, I'm quite curious to learn more about the stacks ecosystem. I understand that you should, I don't know how to pronounce the project, sorry. But
Uasu, viene de Iguazu.
the Uasu. Bueno, entonces es fácil. So, that's very easy for me now. Uasu, I would like to understand how is your experience on deploying on stacks, on the ecosystem, what's the support, what's the experience on working with Bitcoiners or if more crypto people in the ecosystem. So very interested to make a lot of questions.
So to answer a question, so I was seduced really day one by Munib, the leader of co-creator of Stacks. Today we're starting to build layer one Bitcoin. So it's Bitcoin core technology, like deep tech, discrete block contracts. And the reason is because we think that like Bitcoin itself, we see a vision, economies being built on top of Bitcoin. And that's actually, it's pretty common. Like Stacks is also selling this vision. Because we believe that contracts are essentially, are essential to build economies. They create the promise of wealth, the money flow. So it's not just a store of value or exchange of value, which in itself is already like really compelling. Bitcoin is the currency that your enemy can hold, right? And nobody can censor that. And in a way, it forces people to join and come at the table of peace, because you cannot just freeze the holdings of a country that you don't like and so on, which in my opinion doesn't create the conditions of peace. And we've seen this in history, especially in Europe with First World War, that the end of the treaty wasn't well managed, and it led to the Second World War. So Bitcoin, I see it as really an instrument for peace for humans. But in order for it to become something that really powers an economy, then you need these contracts. And one of the primitives, one of the fundamental contracts that you have in all of our Western economies, and I can say that with conviction because I was in self-structure at Morgan Stanley, and I was structuring during the 2008 subprime crisis, some of the most exotic interest rate derivatives. And the bread and butter of the kind of the chaos are these option contracts, which is basically an insurance play. But when you combine it with an underlying collateral, what you create is actually some sort of like insurance. For example, if you are a company that sells plane tickets, you could buy options, lock the price of the fuel that you need to buy, just to give you a simple idea. And that creates stable conditions for you to conduct your business. So this idea of having a very simple contract, and again, at the layer one, at the Bitcoin layer, these create law contracts, which are really simple, elegant, and almost unhackable, is something that is very compelling for me.
So you started on stacks, but you are migrating to deploy and to be onto layer one directly, similar to Atom Finance. We just been a couple of, I think it was last week that we've been, I don't know, Thomas, you probably with Atomic Finance. It's similar to what Atomic Finance is building.
Exactly. So Atomic Finance, Matt and the team, they've been building, I think, for a few years almost, and they're doing an awesome job, I think, at pioneering all these tools. Shout out to them. They're building something that's similar, to be completely transparent. They have an asset strategy where they backtest a strategy that creates a yield on layer one directly. So they sell covered calls out of the money, and they try and make it so that the call will expire worthless, and therefore they keep the collateral and they create a yield. What we're building is an open auction platform. So there's no passive strategy, and we're bringing risk underwriters and Bitcoiners together directly on layer one. And I have a question for the audience. Did anyone have Bitcoin in November of 2021? I did. And I suffered a 40% loss in a matter of a few weeks. The pain was excruciating. And
One Bitcoin, one Bitcoin. I did know.
but long story short, if you think that this is uncommon, you're wrong. We've done the research. We interviewed 200 plus Bitcoiners. And although they don't like to say it in public, the truth is when they fear that the price will fall, they'd rather hodl and lose money than to go to these other solutions that are simply not good enough. Uasu is an easy way to protect against Bitcoin losses. And the best part is you don't need to surrender custody of your funds.
Interesting. So it's a way to cover on a Bitcoin crash. It's like an insurance on a Bitcoin crash with the price of Bitcoin on US dollar terms. I understand, right?
That's a great question, man. So the payoff, so yes, the price is followed in US term, but we're building on layer one. So the payoff is in Bitcoin. How does it work? Let's say you have, I don't know, 50 grand worth of Bitcoin in your wallet right now, and you want to avoid these big dips. Here you go. It's 3 steps. You open up Uasu, you connect your wallet, you select the amount of Bitcoin you want to protect against and the duration you want it to be protected. And then you review the terms and you sign. Then you're done. So during the duration of your contract, if there's the black swan, a 20% dip, or any Tuesdays in Bitcoin realm, normally it's thousands of dollars, but thanks to Uasu, you get to keep 95% of this.
And how do you building an oracle? Because you need to have the Bitcoin price for that, right?
Yeah, exactly. You're nailing. This is the most important point, in my opinion. The vision that we're taking is that there are very strong teams right now that are hard at work on cracking the Oracle problem. Just to answer your question, we're using basically objective third parties for the Oracle. There's a few teams working on this, but we strongly believe that with all the innovation that has been going on with ordinals, indexes, and so on, there is a play, an infrastructure play that is actually at play that will render the Oracle problem a thing of the past. And in a way, it will become really robust. The moment is right now, in a way.
If you can pull information from Rostock, there is a good Oracle running. I don't want to share it.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%.
I think.
Sorry, I think I accidentally muted everyone.
Yes.
I'm so sorry.
You don't want to. You don't want me to.
We're talking too much, Thomas.
But anyway, no, really, I really think it is because actually I was seeing Fushi. I don't know if you are aware about Fushi. It's a stablecoin protocol that it's been running like in testnet since I don't remember, like more than 1 year or even more in Liquid. And they are trying just to figure out how to build an Oracle on Liquid. I think that's the main problem that they have. And we work a lot on trying to bring a solution for the oracles. Of course, it's on Rostock, but I'm sure that there is a way to pull that information. I'm not sure. Obviously, Misha, who is the technical guy, should tell us how. But anyway, it would be, I imagine it could be very costly to run an oracle on Bitcoin Main.
Yeah, so there's actually, I'm glad you said that. Sorry, I was disconnecting there for a bit. Yeah, the Oracle problem is definitely something that everyone in the Bitcoin community is trying to solve. But at the same time, it's something that, like us as a team, we feel very comfortable letting the infrastructure develop in the ecosystem and everyone come forward with their solutions. And we feel that we can adopt the solution that we feel the most comfortable with as well. So if we would trust it with our Bitcoin, then we would trust Uasu with them as well. And one of the things that's very great about being concentrated on layer one right now is that we're not tied or agnostic to a certain chain. So whether we get our Oracle from Stacks, whether we get an Oracle from Rootstock, whether we get other oracles or other attestation methods, that doesn't matter to us as long as the solution is as decentralized as possible. And the beauty of using DLCs is that even if the oracle infrastructure collapses, or even if we disappear, then at the moment of expiration, the funds are released and are be able to claim by the person that locked their Bitcoin. So we're still building a solution that is decentralized enough for the fail-safes to occur and for the Bitcoin to not stay locked and not stay dependent upon us or upon a third party. So whoever locked their Bitcoin can go and they can claim it. So that's something we feel very comfortable with. And thankfully, we see it developing much further into the future. And I'm sure everyone that's in this space sees this potential as well. We see the growth in the ecosystem and we see the want and the need for this solution. We feel the need to build the financial tool, and we know that the Oracle problem is going to be solved with this as well.
That is very exciting to hear and to know that there's so many teams actively working to fix this problem, and that we can finally have solutions that don't require us to.
I don't think we can hear you.
Oh, no?
Actually, we can.
Actually, I can. Are you able to listen to me?
Yeah. Now I hear you.
Okay.
So Misha cannot hear Tom, but it's fine. He's speaking.
Oh.
Go ahead.
I don't know what.
Okay. Yeah, no, I just wanted to put my 2 cents that I think these kinds of solutions that don't require us to give custody of our Bitcoin and having so many teams trying to find the different solutions to the Oracle problems and all that stuff, I just think is wonderful.
Tom, yeah, maybe if you guys, if the audience is interested in why is this such a big deal, like the contracts on Bitcoin, I can double click on that. Also, explaining the name might be funny. Many knows, but what do you think, Tom?
Yes, please take it away.
Awesome. Yeah, I just want to say that, yeah, exactly. So why Bitcoin guarantee? So let me step back a little bit. So how does it work? Let's take a closer look at how it works. What you have is basically the underwriter is locking the Bitcoin guarantee, selling the option and collecting the premium. That's the name for the price of the option. And the Bitcoiners are buying the option to protect themselves, paying the premium. And when the price falls, they're getting paid from the Bitcoin guarantee, making them whole in Bitcoin. So the payment is in Bitcoin. So if it falls by $5,000, then you're getting paid $5,000 worth of Bitcoin directly on layer one. And this is a big deal because the guarantee is nested in the contract, which shields you from counterparty risk. So in TradFi, if you have a contract with, let's say, Lehman Brothers, and Lehman Brothers goes bankrupt, then your contract becomes worthless. That's the name of the counterparty risk. That's a big concept in finance, like inherit and pass on to the whoever's you selling the option. And on ETH, you don't have that issue because you have smart contracts, but you have protocol risk, potentially collective losses. And we've seen this happening in March of 2020 to make it down during the market crash, where the entire protocol ended up underwater and everybody's stakes had to be diluted. This is the disruption. The Bitcoin option is shielded from both counterparty risk and protocol risk. I'll pause here. That's all right.
Yeah, no, that is fascinating. It's a complete new way of operating, and it sounds like a way better system. So yes, please continue.
Yeah, we see that the potential actually for
This space was downloaded via spacesdown.com. Visit to download your spaces today.
actual adoption to accelerate because of this kind of like new paradigm shift. And yeah, we're building on layer one, this simple, reliable Bitcoin options. And like we want to guarantee that your payoff will go through no matter what on layer one. That is like the kind of like disruption. And we're also looking into integrating layer two because we know that there's demand for fast trading. So this way we'll expand our customer base from high value Bitcoiners to options. And the market is simply massive. Like hedging is an immutable demand. There's 800,000 Bitcoiners with 1 Bitcoin or more in their wallet in need for protection. And options trading, in TradFi, CFI, it represents billion in just daily volume. This is massive.
And how far is from in what stage of the project you are in? Just founding, building, prototype. Do you have an ETA for launching?
So I think that right now might be a good moment to announce that we're launching our alpha sign up. We need like real Bitcoiners to come and test. Our launch on testnet is days away for the simple protection. You have a Bitcoin and you need, I don't know, a 20% insurance against your Bitcoin. You pay a little premium. And if indeed Bitcoin dips, then you get paid that guarantee from the guarantee, right? There's the counterparty, the risk underwriter locks their Bitcoin. And then that Bitcoin is guaranteed and nested into your individual contract. And yes, I'm excited to announce that if you're interested, we'd love to have you. We need like beta testers again of the solution on layer one. an easy way to protect against Bitcoin losses. And the best part, you don't need to surrender custody of your Bitcoin.
This is very interesting, really. Really, I congratulate you. It's really interesting for any Bitcoiner. Actually, I imagine Michael Saylor being very interested or get it.
Yeah, that's the target. There's no reason that these large players in the Bitcoin space shouldn't have the ability to use their Bitcoin on L1 for finance. If we're building the system that's going to completely change the world's finance and we're going to change how these things operate, then we want to build the tools that help this global economy work. And we need these large players to interact more with the entire community. We need them to put their Bitcoin to work to build this actual solution. And we want to enable that. That's where we see the real potential for Uasu, is to truly unlock the potential for anyone, the biggest of whales like Sailor or Salwa or any custodian, all the way down to the people that want to trade their derivatives or they want to hedge due to pricing. This is what we want to unlock. And yeah, that's definitely, hopefully, our target. I can't promise too much, but there's no reason not to spring for the very best.
Yeah, just to piggyback on what Misha just said, yeah, a lot of institutional money right now is at private companies, custodian, professionals, and we don't see why they shouldn't have like a button while they have their Bitcoin on layer one. They could, from time to time, instead of just being hodling and losing money when the storm comes, they could just buy a little premium, and it results on layer one. They get their guarantee paid on layer one. It's very nimble. It's very light, and it has the security of layer ones. We're laughing, but it's actually a possibility.
And who is the other side? Because of course, if I'm the one who wants to buy the cover, someone needs to take the risk. Who is willing to take the risk?
In most cases, it's going to be these large institutions. Just like Rapha says that there's custodial holders and there's people that want to hedge, there's also companies that want to bet and they're willing to lock their Bitcoin in order to obtain these premiums. So just like you said, if you think of a Michael Saylor who just today, I think this morning, bought another 150 million Bitcoin, he's probably not going to sell it for a year. So instead of not selling it, why doesn't he lock it and he sells it for, let's say, even a 10% free premium? It's $14 million worth of Bitcoin now. And if he's betting it's going to go up, it could be 140 million Bitcoin. So why wouldn't he go and take the risk? For him, it's pennies on the dollar. And for you, it's a guaranteed insurance against a drop. Hey, maybe you're not as bullish as I am, but sometimes people want to have this option. So you have all of these players in this space that want to fill in these different roles, that want to show how bullish they are, or they want to, maybe they don't want to show that they're bearish, but they want to have some protection without having to sell, without having to face the taxes, without having to have the burden of moving your Bitcoin onto an exchange. Everything can happen completely decentralized, and completely on Bitcoin L1. So that's the beauty of it. We have a market for any Bitcoiner, no matter your sentiment, bullish or bearish.
So
Yeah,
let me.
well said. Yeah, if I can just double piggyback on what Misha just said, Manu. Misha is talking about market dynamics, and usually on the risk, like risk underwriters, insurers, they're active participants, they're money managers. So yes, it's true, it could be anyone, but usually this kind of requires a level of sophistication that if the auction actually trades against you, comes into the money, then you have the skills. This is your job. You do it you're a professional and you're able to hedge. And so there are already market participants, market makers who have direct incentive to underwrite these risks, and they know how to manage if it goes against them. Go ahead, Manu.
Yes, I just wanted to understand. So you are going to launch this on Bitcoin testnet in the following days, weeks, and this is going to be complete decentralized, and we will be able to test. That's correct, what I understood.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's yep.
Yeah, yeah.
ahead.
So yeah, the way we want to approach this for now, we want to start a closed alpha. This is going to be on testnet, so the transactions will be open, but we want to keep it to a closed group of people that can help us figure out the bugs and learn more about the actual flow and the different things that we need to resolve. But if you're interested in trying it out and you think you can really be of help, then the best way to sign up for this alpha would be to either send your name or your Twitter handle and your Bitcoin testnet address to me or to Rapha or to the Uasu Twitter account. That way we can whitelist your address properly so you can enter the application and use it. And it's not going to start just yet. We're now just starting to create the actual whitelist and make sure we gather enough testers and users. Hopefully, we don't have a date yet, but we're going to announce that very soon. We've already done our own transactions in testnet, so it's already working. But we want to make sure we have something that's going to be very valuable and hopefully very strong for everyone to come in and see what the future of Bitcoin finance is going to be.
I highly recommend, I suppose you already know, 2140, the Lunatic Coin Telegram group. You know them?
So
Yeah, hardcore Bitcoiners, quite maximalist, and especially Lunatic Coin is interesting in this kind of solution. Most probably he will test it, and if he like it, he will do free marketing. So it's actually Luna was one of the first people to learn about money on chain and talking about money on chain. Before we launch, actually, he's a good fan of the protocol. And I would highly recommend just for reaching the Spanish speaking Bitcoiners.
awesome. Yeah. I think that's also hugely important. And that's something we definitely see in our future once we integrate more layer 2 support and we integrate different ways to interact with these financial tools is to spread all of these different things to as many communities as possible. This doesn't have to be a US only thing. It doesn't have to be an America's only thing. We want everyone to have access to it. And if we start thinking in broader macroeconomic scales, if we start thinking about remesas back to Latin America and different parts of the world and being able to ensure the Bitcoin that you're sending back to your families and make sure that it's protected against a long or medium term price drop, then you can really secure value. You're currently in Argentina facing one of the most horrible inflation crises in the world. I just experienced that a few years ago in Venezuela, so I know what you're going through. And having these financial tools available on your phone in a decentralized manner is going to be something that unlocks everyone's personal finance to the best economic system we've had.
Absolutely. I just want to quickly add that I put the Uasu website on top of the spaces so that any listener can quickly check it out. I also want to encourage the audience, if they have any questions or anything, they can type it in or they can request a microphone to ask it directly. So just to allow that avenue for making the spaces more interactive. And yeah, I want to ask you, not to derail the conversation too much, but I know that who's currently and the team is going through the BTC Olympics. So I just want to ask, like, how's that experience going, and how do you think that is helping you develop the protocol?
That's a great question, Tom. So yes, we were accepted in the Bitcoin Startup Lab. So it's a boot camp for the entire summer. And this is actually the second time I was accepted. I actually met Misha through the Bitcoin Olympics. And we've got also like a CTO who's extremely versed in deep tech core Bitcoin and core Bitcoin technology. But the point is, yes, I would recommend any serious founder to that wants to build on Bitcoin. You know, if Bitcoin resonates with you and you want to build on top of Bitcoin, to candidate, right, or to participate in the Olympics hackathon. Yeah, this cohort is extremely strong. I think Albert, who's the CEO, has really leveled up in so many ways, and they really help you understand what it takes to become an entrepreneur. Basically, to narrow down on a fulcrum, build something that people really want, and apply the science, right? Because a lot of us as founders, I was one, like, even before I came to the US, I was really a rookie. I was stuck into one idea, fell in love with my idea, didn't hire the right people, didn't partner, because it's not even about hiring. It's about sharing the pie and building something. It's better to have a percentage of something that is real and that people want. You have 100% of nothing. So in a nutshell, iron is forged in the fire. And Albert has really leveled up with this cohort. Not only the participants are like 4% of the applicants or something, it's the equivalent of Harvard for Bitcoin, but the mentors, the investors across tribes, right? So it's like, it's unheard before. So I really recommend doing it. And even though you think you get it the first time, there's nothing like experience.
Yes, we had Albert on our last spaces, and I am very impressed by what he's doing with BTC Startup Labs. And I love their chain agnostic approach. They're like, as long as you want to build on Bitcoin and add value to the Bitcoin network, you're welcome to do your thing. And I think it's very important for us to start combining all the different Bitcoin ecosystems and work together. I wanted to ask on the roadmap that you guys have for Uasu. I know that you mentioned that you are about to go into testnet, and what's going to happen after that? What's the future looking like for you guys?
Yeah, great question, Tom. So, like, number one, again, as founders, is really to talk to our users. That's why the beta testnet is really important, so that we're building with real people. We have real traction. We have a go-to-market strategy that is real. And yes, we're days away of launching on testnet, and that's very exciting. So we want people to come in, test, participate, and there are ways to quote unquote be grateful for our users' participation. But we're building this no matter what, because we know this demand, because we know that this has a tremendous potential. As I hint at the beginning, contracts are foundational layer for any economy. And today they're built on fiat rails. So we want this built on Bitcoin rails. So Uasu is actually, the name is inspired by Iguazu. And for the audience, it's a massive waterfall at the border of Brazil and Paraguay and Argentina. And what it means in indigenous language is E is water and Wasu is big. So we actually believe that these contracts have the power to fast track the adoption by institutional investors. And so it's the image of massive amount of money flowing or pouring into Bitcoin. And again, to go back to this disruptive idea that the guarantee is nested in a contract and you are shielded from counterparty risk. If your counterparty goes bankrupt, you're not impacted. And you're shielded from protocol risk. If the protocol cannot liquidate people fast enough, you're not impacted. So again, coming back to Bitcoin, I don't know if I'm answering, I'm going on a tangent here, but coming back to Bitcoin, it creates the condition peace. So peaceful economy built on Bitcoin. But next, after layer one, Tom, we plan on integrating layer two. because we know that there's also demand for fast trading, and that can only happen on layer 2. But one thing at a time, I'd say, okay? Bear with us. We're doing this the right way. And so, yeah, just like the answer, we are at a pre-seed stage. We're discussing with investors, first angel backers, and we're looking into opportunities to further accelerate our business. We have a strong team. We can execute. We've built years in the Bitcoin space. We have a decade in TradFi experience. We are 4 developers, including myself. And we are spearheaded by our CTO, who is a Bitcoin core engineer, versed deep tech architecture and its trade-offs.
Wonderful, wonderful. I honestly think the volatility of Bitcoin is one of those things that is preventing its mass adoption. I know that that's one of the things that Money on Chain started by trying to fix that, creating a stable coin backed by Bitcoin, precisely to allow people to acquire all the characteristics of Bitcoin, being permissionless, open, free, unstoppable, all that stuff, without having to stomach all the volatility from the get-go. So if you guys are providing these solutions, I do fully expect that this is could be one of those game changers, because if people can come in without so much risks of the price of Bitcoin dropping 40% overnight, I can only assume that's going to make Bitcoin much more interesting for institutional investors or people that are wanting to move largest amounts of money. So I wish you nothing but the best in this endeavor. I don't know, Manu, if you have any other question, or we can start asking our famous final question.
Yes, we can go on that. As I mentioned before, super bullish on what Rapha is building. So congratulations.
Thank you, Manny. I just wanted to add a point here to Manny and Tom's point. There's no free lunch. It's not like it's magic. Like, it's real finance, so to speak, and sound finance. I know that people don't like that term, but you pay for the insurance. It's free. Underwriter is a professional and can, turn around if it goes south, so to speak. By the way, I just want to give a shout out to Andy, who's in our team and who's pixel crafter. Everything on our website, he's perfected it. Shout out, Andy.
Yes, and just to touch on what you said just now, that's one of the things that I think the term decentralized finance, or like you said, sound finance, I think the thing that makes it so powerful is that you can bring 2 people that are looking to do 2 different things, and without needing to know each other or trust each other, they can collaborate. And by doing so, they both become stronger and both become wealthier. And like you said, this is a service that people can acquire, and they pay for that service. And on the other side, there's someone taking the money to provide that service. And then both actors get to become stronger by collaborating together in a way that is permissionless, that is trustless. And yeah, I just see a lot of really good potential for these kinds of technologies. It's the same with Money on Chain. For the app to work, you need 2 different actors. And we have the DOC holders, which are the stablecoin holders, and we have the BPRO holders, which are taking the other side, and they are incurring more risks, but they're looking for more reward long term. So I see a very similar dynamic. And I think it's like getting that dynamic right. That's the key for the success of these kinds of protocols. And the way you're describing it and the way you're thinking about it, like Manu said, I am quite bullish. And hopefully in the future, we can have you again once you guys are running and you have something to share of that experience. I would love to have you guys again. And now, our final question for each of you separately is, if you were to meet Satoshi today, what would you ask him?
Whoa. Misha, do you want to go first with this one? Interesting, but I just have an additional comment, and maybe it helps me find an idea for your question. But yes, I agree with you. This openness of the technology is disruptive. Transparency, openness, censorship resistant, and also the rules are clear. Code is low in a way, right? If it goes south, it's just code is just going to do what it's told to do, right? It's not going to there's not going to be socialized lawsuit, there's not going to be dilution, yeah, inflation, and so on. The rules are fair. And then I agree with you. This is an ethos that really follows me ever since I was a young self structure and understood that the game is fair. The game of money is not fair out there. And to answer your question, no, just thank you. Thank you, Satoshi. Thank you. And yeah, we love everything you do, and we hope that we'll honor first. We'll be able to pick up from here and build on top of it.
I'll go next. I think if we had the chance to ask a question, it depends on which point we would ask the question. I think if it was we were standing today on 2023 and everything, I would want to know what he thinks of the other blockchain implementations and cryptocurrency implementations that have been created, what his opinions are, what he thinks of the developments that have been made on all the other fields, because it is incredible to see that from one chain created by a single person in an obscure blog, we've gotten to a point of threatening national and international economies. And from there, I would really like to know what he would take out of these technologies and integrate into Bitcoin, whether it's as a parallel technology or a parallel chain or a different way to scale Bitcoin, because these were the things that obviously his design had in mind, but there's no way to know where it was going to be taken. And I just seeing his reflections on how the society has used his technology or migrated to different chains and implemented certain things is going to be, I think, the most interesting thing from coming from the perspective of the creator.
Yeah, that's actually a really good question, Michelle. Yeah. I know a lot of the Bitcoin maxis think they know what Satoshi would have said, but there still remain that question of what actually would he say if he were seeing all that's happening right now. Again, like money on chain and rootstock have a lot to like they took a lot of ideas from the Ethereum side of development. So to me, like there is no argument that the experimentation happening in the altcoin space has benefited Bitcoin massively. And hearing that from Satoshi himself, that would be very interesting. And to Rapha's answer, the just saying thank you, that's one of our most popular answers. And I very much, it resonates with me as well. I think we can all just be very grateful for what Satoshi did. Earlier this year, there was the first Bitcoin conference in Australia. And I remember going in, and in the entrance, there was the pages for the white paper, for the Bitcoin white paper stuck to the wall. And I just remember looking at that and saying, wow, like somebody just posted a couple pages on the internet and the world changed forever. And yeah, we can all just be thankful for that because it's incredible. Thank you both for joining us. Thank you, Manu, for being here. I know you have a very busy schedule. If anyone wants to give some closing notes or anything, now would be the right time to do so.
Yeah, just before we go, want to thank everyone for their time. And these conversations are really productive for us, and it's a great way for us to learn and to get our ideas out into the space. And I've shared below in the comments here, you can see the sign up page for our testnet beta. So please make sure to go in there, add your information, join our Discord. We want to share all our announcements and all our information with you, and we want to keep everyone as updated as we can. So please join, and we'll keep you guys updated on anything we do, and hopefully we'll see you on testnet soon. Thank you.
Absolutely. And Tom would love to come back when we have things straighten up, when we're further in our journey. Again, we're building for the people. We don't have time to do bullshit. I don't know if it's that she would say this in these terms, but yeah, help us help you. This is the global movement. Thank you, Satoshi.
All right. Thank you, everyone that has come here. We will meet you hopefully next week. We have another very interesting guest. And yeah, we have a lot of really interesting guests scheduled for the weeks to come. So thank you for joining us. I love this conversation, and I hope we see you next week. Take care.
Yeah, I have actually the last sentence. The best moment to build Bitcoin was in 2008. The best moment to build Bitcoin finance is now. Thank you.
That's the perfect way to end this. Thank you all. See you next time.